All right, Alexandra. One of my favorite topics. We all have influences in our lives. Sometimes they come in a second, sometimes they come in a lifetime, but they're there. A quick example that I talk about a lot when I speak is my grandfather, him, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt. They came from Kiev way, way back into Canada. And but at the age of 5, he used to take me for walks in the park in Montreal. And one day I asked him, I said, I call him Zeta, how do you know all these people? Because he talked to everybody. And he said to me, you see that man over there? One day I looked up and smiled at him, and he looked at me, and then he smiled back, and then he came over, and we became friends. And someone saw us smiling and laughing, and they came over and smiled at us. And as a 5-year-old, I'm thinking, well, life's pretty easy. I just got to smile at people. And you get older, you start complicating things, but actually, even a smile influences
It
people tremendously. So with that said, again, I'm sure you have a lot. Maybe you can name or give us
uh,
two or three
I
people that have
do.
been influential.
I have three, and I'll make them brief. But it's interesting. All of these three, I want to preface with there's good and there's bad. Nobody's perfect, and the reason that they influenced me was both. It was both positively and negatively, but that's why they're so meaningful to me. So the first is Troian Bellisario. She is an actress. She's on Pretty Little Liars, and prior to my eating disorder, I looked up to her. I thought she was a brilliant actress. I thought she was so poised and graceful and put together. I wanted to be Troian Bellisario, and her role had a lot to do with it too on Pretty Little Liars. She was smart, um, book smart. It's something that I've always valued. Well, fast forward going into treatment, I found out actually at treatment that she had struggled with an eating disorder. And that was my turning point in treatment when I realized that we are looking up to someone. We're looking at someone for the answers who's looking at someone else for the answers who's looking at someone else for the answers. None of us know, and we don't even know in this world. We don't know anybody really. We barely even know our own minds. So why are we, looking at these role models like we know them, and like they have all the answers because they're human also, which is what inspired Project Blackbird then down the road. But she now impacts me and influences me so positively because I've seen her recovery journey also. And that has been huge. And I know that I've gone through something very similar to what she went through. I know that I can recover too. Sometimes it does help to see an image of recovery, and
Yeah.
she has done a beautiful job both treating herself well and others, and she does a lot of good in this world, and so I look up to her and really respect her as a public figure. Now I don't know her personally, so but as a public figure.
Well, that
Now
is another thing. You do not necessarily have to know someone personally to have them be influenced
that's true.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, many of those that I won't mention now, many of those that have influenced or impacted me are individuals that I see on a subway train or somebody that I see in passing that I'll never see again. I'm very impacted by the souls that I'll never meet
I
again.
agree.
But the other two that I'll mention, one is my mom. Um, my mom, the good and the bad, she was an image of perfection for me. And I still to this day am working on realizing that I am not my mom. I am something different and equally as wonderful. But she is kind. She is hardworking, not the smartest person in the entire world, but is brilliant. And works very hard. And she knows her strengths and continues to work on what she wants to improve about herself. She's understanding. She's open minded. Brilliant, brilliant woman. But again, to my detriment, because along the way, it led me down a bad path because I thought that I needed to be her. And when in fact, I actually have wonderful traits that she does not, that she looks up to me to for as well. And that's what life is about. We all have some, we all have a little bit of mashugana, as she would say. So that's another. And then my grandfather is the third one. And it's interesting. So he just passed away, ironically, on Christmas Eve this past year. And I didn't realize this about him actually so much until the time of his passing. He was a brilliant man in terms of achievements and accomplishments. He was a military man. flew planes. He taught at incredible universities. I mean, brilliant. He went to Cornell. The life of every room, just a boisterous, I mean, wonderful, wonderful individual. But at his funeral, what everybody spoke about was how he made them felt. Sorry, how he made them feel, how they felt in his presence. He saw everybody. He was present in every moment. He just lived and he made everybody feel so special. And that's who I want to be. I want to be someone that is a joy to be around, that makes others feel joyful and feel like they want to be on this planet, feel special, feel seen. I think that's what's most important. It's not the words we say, it's how we make someone feel when we say them. So he is number one, my inspiration.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It teaches us that we should know that we're influencing people all the time also, even without
Mm-hmm.
noticing it, like the guy in the subway you're talking about or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes to your dad, and you probably know it, is Maya Angelou, who said that most people forget what you said, most people forget what you've done, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Yes.
And it's
Spot
so
on.
true. So thanks for
Yeah.
sh- thanks for sharing that. That's great stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I like that question.